The other day, I was coaching a very successful leader. This highly credentialed, seemingly confident leader shared a secret with me. Despite their success at every level, they continually return to the talking heads in their head. I got curious and I said, "What do you mean, the talking heads in your head?" They said, "Well, that David Byrne song, Once in a Lifetime? I can't get those questions out of my head." It would not leave their mind. Well, how did I get here? This is a question many of us struggle with. I don't deserve this. They're going to find out I'm a fraud. This is not my beautiful job. Statistics suggest that 70% of professionals suffer from imposter syndrome at some point in their career. So I got a little curious about this and decided I'd check out Oxford's. And what I found from Oxford's was exactly the same thing in this cartoon, that imposter syndrome is just simply the persistent inability to believe that one's success is deserved or has been legitimately achieved as a result of one's own effort and skill. Imagine this: all these leaders in our industry, all of these leaders in our life, all of these people that we know are successful, don't believe in themselves. This can be debilitating for many leaders. So let's define our terms a little bit more specifically. Because as I started researching imposter syndrome, I got really curious about, what exactly are we talking about here? Well, specifically, there are 5 types of imposters. The first one is the perfectionist. If I'm going to be successful, everything must be exactly as it should be. The second, and we all know them in school, right? The natural genius, that person who's always in the AP classes, who always understands how to untie the knot. They just get it. There's the soloist, that individual contributor who contributes at such a high level. And then when they get promoted to leading, they don't know how to do anything but be a soloist. And by the way, their close cousin is what we call the expert. And you know who they are. Those are people who go so deep on a topic. They really are experts in their field. So they can be a mile deep, but only an inch wide. And then, of course, the superhero. Tragically flawed in some way, shape, or form, the superhero doesn't understand. Why am I successful? How did I get here? There is some flaw in them that prevents them from believing in their own success. I'm not sure which one fits you, but likely in your career, since 70% of us potentially have been suffering from imposter syndrome, likely one of them is that personality that fits you. So where did this come from? Imposter syndrome. Well, research would tell you, and those who study these sorts of things would tell you there are really 4 primary reasons why imposter syndrome tends to manifest itself. The first can be very simple. It's just how we were brought up. The environment we were brought up in, how we were parented, what surrounded us. And I'm not all about blaming your parents, by the way, because that would not be taking responsibility for yourself. But recognize that we all have experiences throughout life that shape who we are today. And to go back and understand what those are, we can undo those things. Just who we are, our personality. Certain places where we're supremely comfortable, and other places we are supremely uncomfortable. So our personality can have an impact on us. The situation we're in right now, whether it's anxiety or depression, mental struggles that have been yet resolved, those can create the opportunity for imposter syndrome to rear its ugly head. And of course, being thrust into new experiences that we don't quite understand. Think about our soloist, right? The soloist is very good at something, or the expert very good at something, and then they get elevated to leadership and they go, I don't deserve this. So what do we do about it? What can we do to help us understand ourselves better and to avoid or deal with imposter syndrome. I'm going to give you 5 techniques. We'll run through them fairly quickly, but the first is understand yourself. Use a tool like the Enneagram or Myers-Briggs or any of the others that are out there to really get a clear understanding of who you are. We're pretty complex puzzles. We're a product of our environment. We're a product of our DNA. So really understand, what are my core motivations? What makes me happy? What are my core beliefs and values? Aristotle said, self-knowledge is the beginning of all wisdom. So understand yourself, get a little wise. Know your genius. We're all sort of put on this earth to do something. And what we find is those who understand their genius and work in their genius tend not to suffer from imposter syndrome, because they tend not to stray from their genius. That doesn't mean they can't manage, that doesn't mean they can't lead, but they understand that area of life, of who they are, that gives them life. Separate your facts from stories. I was chatting with a leader the other day and we were talking about this very subject, and I said, well, let's put a list of facts down. If we were to look backward on your career, what's happened in your career that has gotten you to this place? And likely that equation equals success. Unfortunately, the stories in our mind, those insidious stories in our mind, can create counter stories that aren't particularly productive. Embrace a growth mindset. Find joy in failure or mistakes. Carol Dweck writes in her book, Growth Mindset, good read by the way, I highly recommend it, that those of us who embrace a growth mindset, even though we're put into circumstances we may not understand, embrace those rather than fearful from those. And finally, work with a coach. Find somebody who sees you for more than how you see yourself, who gives you a different window into yourself, different perspectives, different pieces of mind, a different understanding. The basic coaching premise is you have everything in you to lead. All the coach needs to do is bring that forward. So embrace finding a coach. Embrace a growth mindset. The coach will help you discover your genius, separate your facts from your stories, and really help you understand parts of yourself that you didn't even know existed. If you'd like more info about imposter syndrome or any of the things that we teach here at Focus Consulting Group, check out our YouTube channel. We have a lot of content there that you might find interesting about a variety of leadership and culture topics. Connect with us on LinkedIn, and certainly come check out our website. There are all sorts of things you can learn. Embrace that growth mindset. Push forward through imposter syndrome. And have a great day.